New Mexico Crime Files, a deep dive into the archives, shocking and notorious cases, the arrests and what led to them, and what happened to the suspect. Here are your hosts, Dean Staley and Jessica Garate. New Mexico Crime Files is sponsored by Medrano Struck Law Firm.
Hello and welcome to another episode of New Mexico Crime Files. I'm KRQE News 13's Dean Staley.
And I'm Jessica Garate. And always such a pleasure to be here for another episode of New Mexico Crime Files.
So this crime, Jess, being in the newsroom with you, we experienced this together when the first call comes in about the horrific first murder in this case, and then there's another one attached to it. But the thing that struck me about the story we're about to tell is you couldn't find younger, more innocent victims in this case.
Absolutely, both of them. And I think it was, really spread this fear throughout our city. It took a while to connect both of them, but the two people that were killed, you have one high schooler going to a homecoming party. And so I think it really just, as a parent, you felt it like this kid's just going to a homecoming party and gets shot. Yeah,
17-year-old Sean Markey is the victim in this first killing. The killer is Izaiah Garcia, who at the time we didn't know who he was, but we knew we'd had a young teenager killed at a homecoming party. And then the search is on for the killer. A lot of good leads from police in the beginning, right?
And then there's another murder at a park. And it's a young woman with her boyfriend playing PokemonGo. Another, fun thing out there, just enjoying life.
In the evening. And I have to confess, Jess, when I heard this, I thought, was she really... as a reporter, you have this sort of built-in, not cynicism, but skepticism about almost everything that comes into the newsroom. I say, okay, was she doing a drug deal? Was she involved in something else? People don't normally just get shot at a park for no reason.
Right.
But you're absolutely right. She was just there with her boyfriend in the evening playing PokemonGo and happened to be at the worst place at the worst time.
And both of them just really heartbreaking. We heard from both families. And it was just so devastating and really just hit our city.
Yeah, Cayla Campos was the one who was murdered, and I think she and her boyfriend saw a robbery taking place and actually said, we need to get out of here, and started to back out of the park, and that's when she was shot in the car. Yeah.
So let's go and take a look at this story. This is from October 29th, 2019 by Courtney Allen.
He was a really good friend. He was the friend that never left by your side.
September 29th, 17-year-old Sandia High School student Sean Markey shot and killed at a house party on Garcia Street near Eubank and Montgomery.
I never, ever in my life imagined that I would have to be doing this, that I would be here without her.
October 18th, 21-year-old Cayla Campos shot and killed after her boyfriend said they were playing PokemonGo at Bianchetti Park after witnessing a robbery in progress. When she tried to drive away, she was shot, crashing into this home.
Sorry to the family of the victim, and I hope they caught the suspect already.
The suspect in Markey's case, 19-year-old Izaiah Garcia, was caught last night, and it appears Garcia has connections to Campos. First, he was arrested at a home on Granite Avenue, next to Bianchetti Park, just 4 doors down from where Campos's car crashed.
There are tons of kids that come and go from this home, different cars every day.
Campos's apartment, just a 2-minute walk away.
In some ways, you gotta think that maybe somehow it's all related.
The two also have some mutual friends on social media, both known to hang out in the Heights. The locations of Markey's murder and Campos's murder are just about a 10-minute drive apart. Plus, Garcia has a photo of what looks like a red Ford Mustang as a Facebook cover photo. If you remember, police said a red Ford Mustang may have been involved in Campos's death. News 13 asked APD if they are investigating a connection between the two cases, but never heard back. While Markey's family did not want to comment on a possible connection today, they said their hearts go out to Campos's family.
I did go to her viewing the other day, and I talked to her parents just to give them some support.
Well, heartbreaking story. And on a personal note, I had friends growing up who went to Sandia High School. I have friends now whose kids went to Sandia High School. So when you have a 17-year-old high school kid killed at a homecoming party, it really hits home when you're that connected to a place like that, and it just feels like, wow, this is my community.
And just seeing those pictures of two young people who should still be here, just senseless killings, and I do think it made everyone just kind of parents worry, like what are my kids doing? And they're not doing any, they're doing what every other teen is doing. Can we just not send them to house parties or,
or to the park?
Yeah. Or to the park.
Is the city safe? You get that sort
just
of
do
feeling.
normal
sure.
teenage things.
Yeah.
So Izaiah Garcia was charged with both murders. He was indicted on Markey's killing in 2019. Then Garcia went on trial on July 2021 for 2 weeks. He was convicted of first-degree murder and aggravated assault. And then he was indicted for the Cayla Campos murder in 2020. He was tried in March of 2024. And that lasted about 8 days, and then he was found guilty in that case. Annalisa Pardo reported back in July for the sentencing of Garcia murdering Campos, and it was just a really emotional day, as you can imagine.
Let's take a look.
The family of Cayla Campos spoke out today asking for the maximum penalty for Izaiah Garcia, while Garcia also addressed the court, claiming he didn't commit the crime.
She was tough but gentle. Intelligent but understanding.
A heartbroken father asking the judge for the maximum sentence for his daughter's killer.
Her life would be an amazing journey to continue to watch. But now that it's been taken from us.
It was in 2019, then 21-year-old Cayla Campos witnessed an armed robbery. Later, she and her boyfriend were playing PokemonGo at a park when bullets went through their car, hitting her in the neck, causing her to crash and die.
Cayla should be with us today. Her death did not have to happen. The problem is a teen who thinks he can resolve a conflict with a gun.
Earlier this year, a jury convicted Izaiah Garcia of the crime. Campos's father addressed his daughter's killer.
We're done. And we're going to let the past go. You're not worth another thought in our head or a single breath from our mouths.
While Garcia, despite the guilty verdict, claimed innocence.
I hope and pray that the truth is found and will bring proper closure to the victim's family.
Garcia is already serving a life sentence for the 2019 murder of 17-year-old Sean Markey at a house party. Today, Judge Joseph Montano gave him another life sentence to be served after his current sentence for the Markey murder.
I'd like to focus on Cayla and the life that she lived, continues to live, through the many lives that she touched while on this earth.
Annalisa Pardo, KRQE, News 13.
So what strikes me about this one is just a father who's devastated, and every single parent has this feeling of like, wow, I just can't imagine what that would be like to lose a child. So
just devastating. I know we'd interviewed him a couple of times throughout this whole process, and after that Garcia had been arrested, and it just every time was just heartache and just so tough to do those kind of interviews with him.
Right.
But I'm glad that he was able to share the story, and we're able to share the stories of these two young lives that were taken.
And it's always interesting to hear someone who's gone through the very worst thing that you can imagine, losing a loved one like that, a child, and then saying, we're moving on. I'm not going to live with vengeance, with hate, with anger. I just want to leave that part of it behind me and never have to think of this Izaiah Garcia ever again, which I find incredibly, I don't know how you get to that place, but I really admire that sort of that thinking, yeah.
The other thing that stands out is that he just can't say he's sorry, and that is just really painful to me and to these families that, Garcia gets up there and still denying what he did. He's got 2 life sentences. Obviously, he's the one that committed these murders, and he just doesn't want to take any responsibility.
Yeah. Not a sense of, wow, now that this has happened and now that I have to take responsibility by going to prison, let me say I'm sorry and let me say I'm going to become a different person, or I was living a life that I didn't know led to this. You see none of that in this. No self-awareness at all.
None.
Yeah.
So he was given the life sentences in the killings of Markey and Campos plus an additional 13 years. Mm-hmm. He is appealing those convictions and sentences. He was also convicted of shanking another inmate at MDC while awaiting trial. He pled and was given 3 more years for that incident. This guy just not learning his lesson.
And we will keep our viewers updated about his time in prison. We won't be talking about his parole. Right. That's for sure. Yeah. All right. The next story we're going to bring you is one of these crazy car chases. And you've seen these before, but this is pretty spectacular. Pretty scary, and a lot of credit to the officer involved in this one who was chasing a criminal who ended up going the wrong way on the interstate. That story when we come back.
New Mexico Crime Files was made possible by Medrano Struck Law Firm, local attorneys based here in Albuquerque, committed to providing personalized legal services, including free consultations. Call 505-217-2200 or visit MedranoStruckLaw.com today. Now back to New Mexico Crime Files.
And welcome back to New Mexico Crime Files. Dean, this next story is just one of those that just really frustrates you. You've got a driver. It's a scary chase. He's going a high speed on I-25 and then starts going the wrong way. And trying to stop these drivers is not the easiest.
We do way too many of these stories. A lot of times they're impaired, but sometimes they're just running. Well, I'm not going to be caught. I'm not going to jail, and I'll do whatever I have to get away. And ultimately, they always do get caught. I'm still waiting to find the one where they actually get away, right? So driving the wrong way down Interstate 25, and I just want to mention, you'll see this, a police officer, and he talks about it in the piece. A lot of credit to these human beings, right? One of the scariest, toughest jobs there is, being a cop, and he has to pursue this guy going the wrong way down I-25. You know, as a cop, you don't just say, well, there he goes. Man, I hope that works out. You know, you get right in behind him. So really some terrifying moments.
Well, for both of them, and you're just seeing all the cars coming at you and trying to stop him. Mm-hmm. And he's going at ridiculous speeds.
Right. And the reporter you're about to hear is one of our favorite reporters, Aaron Drawhorn, a really good guy, had his own style. And sometimes I think as a viewer, you may appreciate that when someone is taking a story like this and putting a little bit of their own style in the reporting of it. So take a listen and take a look. This is Aaron Drawhorn reporting on Raul Garcia's police chase.
Raul Garcia is a guy you probably don't want to run into. For starters, this truck isn't his. It's stolen. And the way he drives, you don't want to be anywhere nearby.
2 to midnight, it's a swing shift, the busiest shift we have.
Santa Fe police officer Leo Guzman's Friday swing shift was intense. Guzman catches up to the stolen truck, and Garcia wants nothing to do with police.
We're trying to block traffic so he doesn't crash into anybody.
From the neighborhoods to major city streets, Garcia is a reckless evader.
A known suspect at this time.
Other agencies join. He speeds by cars and drives all over the place. Garcia's ready to head to Interstate 25, almost flooring it, reaching 90 miles an hour. Garcia abruptly exits at La Cienega, avoiding spikes. He's back on I-25, but slows down at Waldo Canyon, gets into the median, and the danger gets high as he takes on oncoming traffic head-on in the wrong lane.
When they say your life flashes before your eyes, that was the only thing that happened. I was able to see my kids being born, and that's the only thing that I remember from that point.
He's on the frontage road now in the wrong lane. Spikes have now worked, and Garcia soon goes off-roading. With the beautiful Santa Fe sunset in the background, police deal with an ugly scene. The truck stuck, the driver willing to put the pedal to the metal. He keeps hitting the gas. Officers can't risk it anymore. They get to the threat. Garcia experiences the pain of a taser. His off-roading was his downfall. Garcia is booked, but he's already a wanted man again.
He's willing to run from cops.
Police fear he could try a dangerous sequel behind the wheel.
You won't be surprised.
No, to be honest, I wouldn't.
So we are going to tell you the sequel to Raul Garcia's police chase. But first, I mentioned this before. I really do want to say Santa Fe police officer Leo Guzman, who was chasing Garcia, what brave people, right? Yes. And at that hour, as the sun is setting and you don't have great visibility at that hour, the fact that this guy is going on I-25 against traffic on the interstate and how fast people are driving, how lucky that they had a cop car there with flashing lights to tell them, hey, we have a problem here. Otherwise, I don't know how you would ever see a car crossing like that or have time to react to it. So, there's an officer risking his life to keep everyone safe.
It's during rush hour. You can see all the cars there. It's a miracle that no one got hit, that he didn't hurt someone, and that the cop was okay.
Yeah, and Guzman says we're trying to block off traffic to keep people from getting hit by this guy. So they're calling ahead saying, hey, stop traffic at this intersection. He's coming. Just incredible. So please.
Raul Garcia had a warrant out for his arrest for not showing up to court. Imagine. In June of 2017, he was arrested in Albuquerque for trying to steal an APD bait car. Mm-hmm. He now had 3 felony cases against him, the chase in Santa Fe, drug trafficking charges, and the stolen bait car.
Yeah. And let's give a little credit to Albuquerque police and their bait car program, because this was sort of the lure that brought this guy to where they could find him, because he was in the wind. They knew he was dangerous. They knew he had this police chase. They knew he was involved in drug trafficking. But where is he? And it's only because they had a bait car that they were able to catch him trying to steal it. Yeah.
He pled guilty in all of those cases in January of 2018, and the deal sent him to prison for 3 years for all of those crimes, just 3 years. He violated his probation and was sent to drug treatment, and then he completed his probation satisfactorily, and he only has picked up one minor traffic ticket since.
Yeah.
Not causing trouble anymore.
Right. And unless you hurt somebody, you and I know this because we cover these kinds of crimes all the time. Unless you hurt somebody, unless you shoot somebody or stab somebody or run over somebody, very rarely are you going to end up behind bars for very long. Yeah. All right. Talk about this next one, Jess. This is a fascinating next story.
This one went national.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those that were just tough to believe.
Absolute Wild West. No violence, no weapons. Nobody got hurt, but still one of the most shocking crimes that we have covered. We'll bring you that story when we come back.
And welcome back, Dean. This next video is one you just watched, and I just remember we were all surrounding a monitor in our newsroom, like just in disbelief of what we were watching.
Yeah, and I will say it again. No violence, no weapons, nobody was hurt. And still, this is one of the most shocking crimes that I think everyone felt viscerally in the newsroom, and everyone who saw it at home sitting on the couch watching your TV thinking, oh my God, did this really happen? Is this really happening in our community? Astounding.
It really is. So this was at a Walgreens, and you had these thieves, cell phone video showing these thieves, a pack of thieves just coming in and just taking all the booze that they want. Mm-hmm. And these are those situations where this happens so much that the clerks can't go after them. There's really nothing you can do. So you just have all these shoppers taking video saying, what is going on?
Right. And there's a certain level of sophistication because the booze is locked up at these Walgreens. This was in Northeast Albuquerque. So they had some sort of key or tool or something to break open the cases. So they were able to open the security cases that usually keeps the booze locked up, right? Keeps it protected. Then they start loading just bottle after bottle in their backpacks. They're not in a hurry. They're not looking around like, oh my God, is someone going to catch us? Because they know that the Walgreens staff has been told, don't chase these guys. We don't want anyone hurt. Just let them do what they're doing. And the other thing I find shocking about this crime is that we would not even know about it because Walgreens has surveillance video, but they don't call us and say, you won't believe what happened. They just write it off, right?
Right.
They maybe reanalyze what else can we do to try to keep this stuff from being stolen, maybe better cages, who knows. But the only reason we found out about it is because there was a shopper there
who was appalled.
Was drop-jawed, just astounded, saying, what's going on? And thankfully, he didn't intervene either.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Those can always be just dangerous situations, but you could tell that this group of thieves had been doing it over and over and just didn't care.
Yeah. Now, the good news is, and you'll see the video and see what we're talking about, the good news is that it was so shocking that it did lead to some dramatic changes, both within the police department, within the city, within even the state legislature.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
this is Natalie Wattis, and she has the story from July of 2023.
They just walked straight in, went right into the liquor store and started pulling the larger bottles of alcohol off of the shelves. It almost felt like they knew that they were not going to be stopped.
Rob McIver felt compelled to film this situation, he says, because he's seen thefts like this happen at this Walgreens near Wyoming and San Antonio before.
Several days earlier, I was at the same Walgreens, and there were some shoplifters that came in, kind of boldly came in and just started cleaning out the makeup counter.
Fast forward to Friday, June 30th. Rob is at the checkout counter when he witnesses this shoplifting in action, saying shortly before this incident, he witnessed another man and woman shoplifting handfuls of merchandise.
You could see the manager and the attendant at Walgreens just watched them and shook their heads again.
McIver saying employees have told him it happens all day, every day. Even when he filmed the thieves, they were almost oblivious to being caught on camera.
I did ask the Walgreens manager, why do you allow this to happen? And he said that Walgreens management tells us we're not allowed to interfere.
He says it was surreal, employees and customers just watching these 4 men stealing.
It felt to me like they were probably going to somebody else, taking their merchandise. Obviously, they're not going in and just drinking gallons of whiskey or whatever.
It's exactly this problem that the mayor and the district attorney both said last week at separate news conferences they're hopeful a new organized retail crime law will help address.
We know especially this is still a big issue that I'm in communication with Walgreens about and CVS, and there's broader efforts trying to work with them on how they handle keeping their own businesses secure.
We will make a difference when it comes to retail shoplifting because it's not just scary for the business owner. It's so frightening for anybody that's going shopping.
For now, frustration prevails.
Something's not working. That's clearly something is not working.
So the word that comes to mind is impunity. I mean, these people are acting with absolute impunity. They're not concerned about who's watching, they're not looking over their shoulder. They're not running out. They're walking out. This is crazy. And I want to give kudos to the witness who took the video. Otherwise, we would never heard about this. But also really encourage anyone who's watching this and who's interested in, crime and crime stories to pay attention to the fact that this guy did not get involved with these guys. Because who knows, if they have a knife and they stab you and you die there and you don't get home to your family, there's nothing worth that, right? So luckily he took the video and he stayed out of the way, and we knew more about the story because of him, but really did the right thing by not intervening.
Absolutely, and that's why these store clerks are told not to do it. It's just not worth your life to confront these people that you don't know if they are armed or not. It's just so astounding to me, just seeing just the lawlessness of these people and no care in the world, taking anything they want, whatever goes. It is just really sad that we'd come to that point. When I remember seeing that video, that really this is what we're about. We don't have this is going on all the time, all day long.
This is the world in which we live.
Yeah.
Jess, have you had this experience before? Have you seen this?
Have I seen
when
it
you're out shopping?
Absolutely. I've been in a Target where someone's chasing someone out the door. I've seen it. You're there with your kids and you see someone not paying for something. At the scanner. Yeah, I've seen it plenty of times. And you?
Wait, no, at Walgreens. I remember it was a different Walgreens, one near our work here near Old Town, and I was walking in and someone was walking out with a cart filled, stacked with stuff, and they were sort of like, Sir, please. And you could tell they weren't going to chase them. You could tell the person leaving wasn't going to stop and wasn't going to start running either. They were just leaving. So we've all seen this.
And you feel for these stores. And one thing that also, what has harmed us, and we'll talk about, what the change it did lead to, which is a great change. But, we had stores where we really had it got so bad that APD and the city are saying, hey, we have so many calls to your place. You guys have to do more too. And that's when, they tried the locks. Obviously the locks didn't work this time. They're saying either you guys get security and that's why we see a lot more security in the Targets and Walgreens. And, because we were spending so much resources on this.
That was a shocking moment when the Albuquerque police chief is telling retailers like Walgreens, hey, this is on you. And I was like, wait a second. The police chief is saying this? It's not the police chief's job to make these places safe? And he really put a lot of it back on them and said, you need to do a better job locking up, like you said, security. You need to take this more seriously.
And even where they place the booths, they're saying it's just too easy. You guys should be putting this way in the back where, it's harder to access. They're not just coming out the door, and So
let's talk about the upside. So after this, there was so much outcry about it and similar crimes too. This wasn't the only one, but this was sort of the poster child for the problem.
I remember this one, we had one in Uptown where we had that group of thieves going into the Sunglass Hut and just taking a bunch of stuff. So we were seeing a lot of this.
Horrific. And then it happened in other parts of the country as well, where you had these sort of bands of people running in and kind of smash and grab type stuff. So we had a law change, which in terms of retail theft said, okay, we're not just going to say, oh, you stole less than $500, so this is a petty misdemeanor, we'll let it go. We know that you stole $500 another time and then $500. So we're going to add up the stuff that you steal and we're going to charge you with a much higher level felony, and we're going to add it because they saw that this was an organized thing.
And then we really saw it take effect because you had people who, it's the same people just going and causing the same. This group, which was later identified as Joshua Peralta, Oliver Manning, and Nathan Castillo. Once this came out and that video came out, surrounding stores were like, we're having the same problems with the same people, and they'd been busted before. I mean, so finally, by putting those stiffer charges on them, they're getting sent away, and you've immediately eliminated a lot of the crime that was happening in those stores right there.
Yes, that whole rule about 5% of the criminals are creating 80% of the crime. If you get the right ones behind bars, you really can change the picture. Also, credit to Albuquerque police, because not only were they working with different laws, and of course they have to lobby lawmakers, they have to try to make the case we need new laws and push that forward, but they also had units dedicated to this and watching for this, and that's really helpful, because then you have a detective, or you have even just an officer who's in this unit saying, I recognize that guy. He looks at the surveillance video and say, yeah, this is the same guy, and starts to put the case together. And you can't do that if you just have officers sort of randomly handling these things. So to have dedicated people working in a systemic way as a unit, I think was really helpful too in terms of curbing this problem. We're not out of the woods, but I think it's gotten much better.
Helped.
Yeah.
So they all pled guilty to shoplifting and conspiracy. Judge Britt Baca-Miller sentenced Peralta to 11 months at MDC, followed by 3 years of supervised probation. Manning was sentenced to a year at MDC. Castillo is currently serving 18 months of probation. And it also sparked, as we just mentioned, that we just saw that we increased these arrests and convictions for serial shoplifters. So out of all the stuff, it caused such a ruckus, such an uproar in the city and around the U.S. for this video, was being where everyone could see this video. At least we got some change out of it.
We did. The $1 million question: the next time you go to Walgreens and you need some makeup or a bottle of booze, will it just be on the shelf, or will you have to go get it someone with a key? Turns out
we
still have to.
Also,
you still have
some razors. You're gonna have to get some help.
Yeah, I'm at Walmart and they're like, "Where are the razors?" Like, "Oh no, it's behind you can't get a razor here, pal. You've got to go talk to that person." Like, "Oh, okay."
Laundry detergent, all of that. So
we're not out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination.
We can get rid of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, well, Dean, that wraps up another New Mexico Crime File show.
Just another successful New Mexico Crime Files. I just want to say, I feel like this has been enormously successful.
Yes.
I'm just going to count it now. Just tell people, you're welcome.
That's why I like working with you.
We're just crushing it. Yeah.
Always a great time. And we'll have more New Mexico Crime Files next week.
Thanks for joining us.